Greetings, Sojourn. This is Ben Whipple. I've got 4 things for you on this weekly video update. So number 1, I just want to talk Easter for a second. We just came out of Easter weekend, and I don't know about you, there was some pretty amazing moments to it, and it was pretty weird at the same time. And so we can embrace that in the season we're in. But I wanted to at least give you some encouraging numbers, just to give you a sense of what happened over the past weekend. We offered 3 different things on Easter morning. And so at 7, we had a time of prayer over Zoom. 8 o'clock, Emmerich D. actually did a hymn sing on Facebook Live. And then at 9 o'clock, we had our first ever one-click worship service. And so the past few weeks, you've clicked on different videos, and this time you sit down and click and go through the whole service. Not only that, but it was actually a premiere video on YouTube, which allowed us to be able to all watch it together at the same time. And so I'm not good with the numbers on YouTube, but what I saw is that we had around 130 or so people watching at the same time. That could be singles all the way to big families, and so the numbers are larger than that. But we had 132 at the same time, and then up to this point, we have just under 700 views of that video. So I share that not to get caught up in the numbers, but just to encourage you that we had a large number of people gather. And if you're feeling disconnected in any way, I know it's not the same as gathering in the same room, but there was a sense of togetherness that we had over Easter, and I hope you experienced that to some degree. We also finished the book of Mark. It's a series we've been in since January of 2019. So maybe you're asking, what's next? Well, that's number 2. We're starting a new series this week called Questioning Christianity. Questioning Christianity, the way I've thought about it so far, is that in light of the resurrection, in light of the hope and the confidence we have, we shouldn't shy away from the hard questions. And the reality is that many people are asking tough questions, and maybe you're asking tough questions. And so out of all the questions, we've narrowed it down to 6 questions that we want to ask and explore together. Those questions, number 1, how can the Bible claim to have authority over everyone? Number 2, how can a loving God send people to hell? Number 3, how can a loving God allow suffering? Number 4, how can the church explain its record of oppression? Number 5, how can the Bible's view of sexuality be good? And then the last question we'll explore is how can the Bible and science both be true? So we're going to be using several different resources for this series, and we're going to post those links on our website. We encourage you to use those if they're helpful to you. That's number 2. Number 3, wanted to give an update on the housing situation over at Sojourn. If you remember, we were approached by some Munson workers who were thinking through how can we be prepared for when workers need a place to stay if they've been exposed to the virus but they don't want to take it home. And so Lake Ann Camp offered to let us use some of their bunk beds. And so we got our building set up so that we could house 30 different people. The update is that up to this point, no one has taken advantage of that. That's encouraging in 2 different ways, in my opinion. One, it reminds us that up to this point, we have not been hit as hard as we were prepared for. But number 2, it also is encouraging because we've seen multiple community partners step up. We've seen them step up and offer housing. In many ways, quite frankly, it's nicer than staying in a sanctuary on bunk beds. So while it hasn't been used yet, our posture is still, we want to be ready, and we want to be able to respond quickly to opportunities as they arise. Fourthly, last thing I want to talk about is prayer at Sojourn. Over the month of April, we want to make prayer very accessible for you. We want to encourage it to be praying with each other. And so we've been using a Zoom room over the past few weeks, and we kind of just want to simplify it a bit. And what we're going to be doing over the month of April then is in this Zoom room, there's going to be 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. On weekdays. So Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. and 11 a.m., you show up to this Zoom room and there's going to be prayer happening. The 7 a.m. is focused on praying through the Bible. The 11 a.m. is a time of intercessory prayer. Then on Sundays at 8 o'clock in that same Zoom room, you can come and you can join a crew who's praying. And that's going to be focused more on praying for Sojourn. And then not this Wednesday, not today, but over the next 3 Wednesdays, we're going to make those days of prayer and fasting. And at 7 to 7:15 in the evening, then we're going to gather in that Zoom room and pray together as well. So we encourage you to jump into those. You can go to www.sojourntraverse.com/prayer to get a clearer sense of how to jump into these. All right, that's all I have. I want to encourage you with something I was reading this morning with Jesus on the road to Emmaus with his disciples, with the simple fact that Jesus pursues us. Jesus walks with us. Jesus wants us to know him. And so turn your eyes to him today. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.